Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to continue with forms of ownership, and we're going to look at, in particular, the form of ownership called a CC, or otherwise known as a closed corporation. So a closed corporation is a form of ownership that one can no longer register. So any existing business that is a closed corporation can still operate under those rules and laws. However, you cannot register a new CC. So what are the characteristics of a CC? First of all, you'll recognize a CC by the fact that the name of the company must end in the suffix CC. The next thing that's quite important to understand is that there are 1 to 10 members. The fact that the word closed is in the word closed corporation means that all members are involved and participate in the management. Each member makes a contribution of some assets or services towards a corporation. Members, those 1 to 10 members, have unlimited liability, except where the CC has more than 10 members for 6 months or longer. A CC has its own legal personality and therefore has unlimited continuity. So that means it can continue to operate even if the members change. The auditing of the books is totally optional to the members. However, it is important that they do have an accounting officer to check their financial records. If a member wants to sell their shares, they need to seek approval from all the other members to make sure that everyone is happy with the new member joining the CC. Profits in the CC are shared proportionally in terms of the members' interests. So if a member put 50% of the capital down, they will get 50% of the profit. So let's just touch on some advantages of a CC. There are very few legal requirements. So remember, auditing of financial statements is voluntary. A CC is a legal entity, and so it has continuity. It can be converted to a private company, and members may then become shareholders. Members have a limited liability. The owner's interest in the CC does not need to be in proportion to their capital contribution. And the CC may be exempted by SIPC from auditing its financial statements. Those are all the advantages. The disadvantages. The first is that there is limited growth and expansion because you only have a maximum of 10 members. A member of CC can be held personally liable for the losses of the CC if the member acts incompetent. A CC is taxed as if it were a company, which may be higher than the personal tax rates. It's difficult for members to leave the CC as all members must agree to dispose of their members' interests. So if I was one member in a CC, all the other 9 members would need to agree that I sell my share, and often it becomes quite difficult. And now we're going to move on to the matric set of work. So if you're in grade 10 or 11, you can switch off right now. We are going to move on to the matric work. So matrics, remember, it's quite important for us to see which factors contribute to the success or failure of a business. So in terms of capacity, one would need to fill out a CK1 form. But remember, the fact that you can't register these companies anymore makes this factor obsolete. Let's look at taxation. The success factor is that the CC has to pay dividends tax, not the individuals or not the members. The failure of taxation is that the CC pays the same rate as bigger companies, as bigger businesses, so they pay 28% business tax. In terms of capital, the success factor is that more capital for small to medium-sized businesses because you have up to 10 persons or people who can contribute the capital. Remember, they can also contribute assets. The negative side of the capital or the failure is that members are now also only limited to 10, okay? Whereas other forms of ownership, you can have more than 10 people being shareholders. The lack of capital means that it is difficult to expand the business. Moving on to the division of profits. The success factor is that profit after taxation is divided between the members according to the percentage interest of each member. So if a member has put more in, they will get more of the profits. The failure is a member who contributes less capital will obviously receive less profit. And then the member may not be as committed as the other members because their share is lower. In terms of legislation, a CC has its own legal entity. Members have limited liability for the debt of the CC. However, the failure factor is that the closed corporation must be registered by the Registrar of Closed Corporations. It's compulsory to appoint a financial officer. In terms of management, the success is that there's no separation between members because they are also the managers. The members are actively involved in managing the business. However, the failure is that decision making can be time consuming as all the members have to agree. There may be conflict, which then makes decision making a lot more difficult. So that is the end of the CC.